This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Baneet Braich, and thank you for joining us. The Air Canada flight attendants strike continues to impact Canadians, snarling long-standing plans and separating family members. The union has defied orders to return to work. As Michelle Gassoub reports, some would-be passengers say, despite the setbacks, they want to see a deal that's fair to workers.
These dragon boaters were banking on a big win in Montreal this week, hoping to qualify for a chance to represent Canada on the world stage in Taiwan.
There's so much at stake for us, and we're so disappointed. We just keep hope, we're gonna go, and then, we didn't make the flight this morning.
The strike by Air Canada flight attendants has disrupted those plans, with up to 200 paddlers now scrambling to rebook.
Our team is scheduled to race on Friday, but at the moment, not everybody has a flight or any way of getting out there.
Planes have been grounded since job action began on the weekend, resulting in 50,000 cancelled flights.
I had tried to call Air Canada, probably 9 or 10 times.
Tracy Martin's 16-year-old son was supposed to fly home Monday. He's now stuck in Madrid. Return tickets on alternate airlines are listed from $7,000 to over $13,000.
The whole reason why I bought with Air Canada was for the safety and because they were a Canadian company, and now I don't think I'll ever use them again.
Less than 12 hours after the lockout began on Saturday, the federal jobs minister ordered the flight attendants back to work. They refused, a move the Federal Labor Relations Board has called illegal.
And if it means folks like me going to jail, then so be it.
Despite the personal heartbreaks, financial hardships, and anxieties, these would-be travelers say they want to see flight attendants paid for their work.
I wish that they would bargain in good faith and come up with a fair compensatory package for those who, in my opinion, deserve it.
My heart goes to them, and I completely get it, but Air Canada itself has failed me and my son.
The airline says it aims to resume flights by Tuesday. Meanwhile, these paddlers hope they'll have their chance to go for gold. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
Surrey community is promoting intergenerational connection by joining a play school with a senior care facility. Saurabh Sandhu spoke with the team behind that move.
Okay, bye, baby. Love you. See you later.
The first guest of the morning has arrived, ready to play and learn.
The people on the bus go up and down.
And within minutes, other little learners join in. Soon the group moves outdoors and are washed over from the windows above.
It's so good watching the little children and little kids playing.
The play school located inside a senior care community opened its doors last month and boasts a new model meant to bring 3 generations together under one roof.
We put a smile on the seniors' faces, and we're able to show the children as well that there is a bigger part in the community, not just tiny scholars or not just their families, but we are all part of a bigger community.
Solog says the project is meant to provide intergenerational connections to those who don't have the luxury of being near their loved ones.
Blood is not really a requirement to make connections with people. So intergenerational connections just means as well the neighbors from the other side of the property as well, to make a community garden together, to visit them as well when it's Canada Day celebrations.
Prima Court Ventures, the company behind the initiative, says they were inspired by the increase in demand for both senior and childcare.
We thought of an idea, what if we combine these two in one, under one roof, which we thought that a synergy would happen where both parties will have a benefit of enjoying the care.
Joy says the partnership allows both age groups to learn from each other.
Our children are making connections with the community and the grandparents who are maybe not related by blood, but making that connection and learning from them, having their wisdom being shared with us.
Joy says the company is opening another facility in Abbotsford in collaboration with an educational institution to provide childcare for parents attending college. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
Darius Madavi is back after many adventures. Darius, first look at the weather. How's it looking?
That's right. Back from the West Coast Trail, a very wet West Coast Trail because of an atmospheric river, a minor one, a mostly beneficial one, less so hazardous. Good news for the wildfire situation, as we can see on this map. Less great news for camping. We'll talk more about that later. You can see the fire danger has dropped dramatically across BC because a lot of that moisture has come in, with the exception largely of places in that rain shadow along the coast mountains. Really no watches or warnings in place right now. We have seen some precipitation and thunderstorms rolling through parts of the central interior and some precipitation with no lightning on the island. But for the most part, Baneet, it's a relatively calm picture right now. We're going to see temperatures climb into the end of the week.
Sounds good. We will check back in with you later.
Thank you.
Canola farmers in BC's Peace region are warning of major losses. That's as China slaps new tariffs on the Canadian seed just weeks before harvest. It's a 75.8% tariff. And Matt Preprost has been following this story, and I spoke with him earlier.
Farmers I spoke to are really getting discouraged by taking all these hits from the trade wars, not just with the United States, but now obviously with China. You know, just 3 years ago, they were seeing $26, $27 a bushel. Start of the season, they were signing contracts for $16. Recently, they're seeing prices in that $13 range, and they really need about $15 a bushel to break even. So even that $3 slide in the last few months here can mean up to $200 in losses per acre. So depending on the size of their operation, they're looking at tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses, depending on their size of operation. And with most of the canola grown up here around Fort St. John and Dawson Creek, it's pretty significant to the local economy. They're looking ahead and wondering how they're going to make all of this work heading into harvest and next year.
So farmers are clearly saying it could be a big blow for them. What have you heard from, the BC and federal governments?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, obviously, about in recent weeks and months about providing supports for farmers, about diversifying markets here in Canada and abroad to lessen the reliance on China as the big sole customer. But I think right now farmers are wanting a bit of a clear signal from the federal government in particular about what exactly supports are going to look like. Then again, the farmers I spoke to say, bailout is going to only carry them so far for so long. So what they really want to see is the federal government get back to a table with China, get a deal done that really lifts and eases these tariffs and reopens the market for them. Farmer I spoke with said if the federal government is able to make that happen, farmers can see about a $3 rebound in prices within a short span of a week and really turn discouragement into encouragement as they head into harvest.
Thank you, Matt. That's Matt Preprost in Fort St. John. A former RCMP spokesperson who went public with sexual misconduct allegations over a decade ago has died. As John Hernandez reports, Catherine Galliford struggled with her mental health in the years that followed, but still inspired other women to speak out.
And I'm Constable Catherine Galliford with the RCMP.
She guided British Columbians through moments in history, from the Picton murders
On Tuesday night, Coquitlam RCMP arrested one male
to one of Canada's deadliest attacks.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police has laid charges in connection with the Air India bombing.
Catherine was the most caring, most charismatic, vibrant, full of life individual you could have ever met.
Born December 28, 1966, Catherine Galliford was known for her drive to make a difference. She grew up in the Lower Mainland. She began a career as a journalist before training to become a police officer.
She figured through joining the RCMP and becoming a police officer, she could actually help people.
But during her 2 decades with the force, she alleged there was a prevalent culture of sexual harassment and abuse. In 2011, she went public in an interview with CBC News.
If I had a dime for every time one of my bosses asked me to sit on his knee, I'd be on a yacht in the Bahamas right now.
Her words opened up a flood of similar complaints.
If she hadn't done that interview, I would have never said anything. I would have just went to my grave quiet like everybody else.
Janet Merlo, a lifelong friend and fellow officer, led a class action against the RCMP that included more than 2,000 officers.
And then we started hearing from more women and more women and more women. And the story was the same right across the country, whether these women knew each other or not.
That lawsuit settled for more than $100 million. Meanwhile, after a 4-year battle, Galliford settled her own lawsuit against the RCMP. But her experiences left her struggling with PTSD and agoraphobia. She fought cancer in her final years and died on August 15th. Her death igniting one more call to action.
To current engaged RCMP members who see this and they know what's going on, but they're afraid to speak out. In Catherine's name and in Catherine's memory, you have to find your voice.
CBC News reached out to the RCMP for comment. Galliford was 58. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Up next, more on the Air Canada strikes and what that means for travelers. Air Canada flight attendants remain on strike as travelers brace for more cancellations. Ottawa is urging a deal and fast, but Air Canada says that won't happen unless workers are back on the job. Jennifer Lagrassa looks at what happens now to the 500,000 passengers caught in the crossfire.
Don't delay, get there.
They're not backing down. 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants are staying on the picket lines, defying a back-to-work order.
We will not turn our back on these workers.
Canada's Labour Relations Board called the strike unlawful and told workers to be back at noon Monday, but the union refused.
If it means folks like me going to jail, then so be it. If it means our union being fined, then so be it. We're looking for a solution here, but that solution has to be found at a bargaining table.
Negotiations stalled Friday, and since then, hundreds of flights have been canceled, with more expected Tuesday. The airline now estimates 500,000 customers will be affected.
My message is obey the law, and let's get our flight attendants back to on the planes.
The union is demanding better wages and compensation for unpaid work. Right now, attendants aren't paid for their duties before and after flights. Air Canada says its latest offer would make its staff the best paid flight attendants in the country.
It's important that they're compensated equitably at all times, fairly at all times.
The federal jobs minister says the government will investigate claims of unpaid work. It's an issue other federal parties have raised before. The minister also defended the decision to invoke a controversial back-to-work order.
With both parties saying there's no further room to negotiate, it was clear that they needed an assistant.
But some experts say Ottawa overstepped, threatening workers' rights.
The leverage that employers have in that bargaining relationship is that, of course, they control most of the things about employment. But if we remove that right, as has been happening in these conflicts lately, it completely removes workers' leverage and removes any pressure from employers to have to bargain.
The University of Victoria has fired one of its longest-serving professors over complaints of sexual harassment. CBC's Jason Proctor spoke to host Jessica Chung about what happened earlier today.
Robert Gifford was an environmental psychology professor. He oversaw graduate students. As you say, he worked at the University of Victoria since 1979, so 45 years. The first incident that he was suspended for, we've learned, was in 2021 when, he allegedly sexually harassed a graduate student. After that, he was suspended and then fired last summer in relation to an allegation that he sent a letter to a junior colleague in 2018 ahead of a conference they were supposed to attend, where he sort of suggested they share a same room. And in this email that he sent, he sort of had said, if you're okay with that, we can just see what happens. The university sort of said, this was sort of sexual harassment. The colleagues had said she wanted to keep the relationship just professional, but that's ultimately led to his termination by the university, something he fought. And we're only learning about this now because he went and attempted to get his union to grieve it, which they did, but then they didn't want to go to arbitration, and he fought his union on that, and it became public.
Yeah, okay, so these are some concerning allegations. What does Gifford have to say about all of this?
Well, I spoke to him last week. He sort of said he admitted that, he told a graduate student in 2021, I'm attracted to you. He said that was a clear mistake. In terms of this other incident with the male, he said, there was no power imbalance, was what he said. He felt he should have been punished progressively. And so part of the strange way this played out is he was actually suspended for something in 2021 and then fired for something which occurred in 2018. He said had he actually been punished at the time in 2018, he would have learned his mistake, so to speak. Obviously, the university doesn't see that way, and they told me, that taking the step to fire somebody is something to take very seriously.
And take a look at the day that was in Victoria. Darius will have your full BC-wide weather forecast coming up. The end of summer is coming up, which means it's also back to school season. You might have even bought school supplies already, but have you considered checking your child's vaccination record? Well, this week, the Fraser Health Authority is helping school district superintendents prepare for potential measles outbreaks. Fraser Health Medical Officer Lindsay Bothorpe is here to explain more. Dr. Bothorpe, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Fraser Health data shows that 24 confirmed measles cases so far this year. Currently, there are none. But when kids come back to class, that could change. What are you telling schools about how to prepare for the potential?
Thank you for the question. And essentially, we work with our school partners closely. We have conversations with them 2 or 3 times a year where we meet with the superintendents and give them updates on public health programming as well as some public health concerns. Measles has been top of mind for the past few sessions. And as we are in our back to school phase, we will be again talking about measles, promoting immunizations, as well as encouraging them to keep up with infection prevention and control measures. For instance, regular hand washing, encouraging staff and students to stay home when they are ill, as well as to offer them with support and resources if they have any concerns that a staff or student has measles in their community. We do have public health nurses who work closely with the schools.
And what are some of the biggest concerns and safety measures to take when kids do come back to the classroom?
Essentially, immunization is the best way to prevent the spread of measles. It's a really effective vaccine. A child needs 2 doses to be protected against measles, and it offers nearly 100% protection against a measles infection. So we are really promoting measles vaccinations. We've been doing a lot of work to encourage vaccination and to get kids up to date. For instance, we've been calling the parents of kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 students who are not up to date for their measles vaccine and have been offering them immunizations before the school year starts.
And if parents worry about that the vaccine might not be safe, what would you want to tell them?
I'd want to tell them that it is a very safe and effective vaccine. As with all vaccines, you can get some minor symptoms that occur after being immunized in the days after being immunized. But overall, by and large, it's a very well tolerated vaccine. And as I mentioned, it's very effective at preventing infection. And I can say of the cases that we have had in Fraser Health, they have been unimmunized or their immunization status has not been known.
And looking ahead, what are some key symptoms to watch out for?
Yeah, great question. In terms of symptoms that a child could have, or really anyone with measles, is fever, cough, runny nose, red, irritated eyes. And then a few days later, an individual gets a rash. Typically, the rash starts on your forehead, the rest of your face, and then it travels down to the rest of your body. And that typically lasts 4 to 7 days.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bothorpe. Again, that's Lindsay Bothorpe, who is a Fraser Health Medical Officer. For almost 100 years, something's been missing from BC's Okanagan Lake: salmon. But once again, they can access their historical spawning habitat. As Brady Strachan explains, the return of the fish has spiritual meaning to the Indigenous people who live near the lake.
It's a moment of pride and deep cultural significance.
It's history in the making, and our salmon will return as it was thousands of years ago.
With the push of a button, members of the Syilx Okanagan Nation restore a migration route that's been blocked for nearly 100 years. In just a few weeks, thousands of sockeye salmon will swim through this fish passageway and around the dam that's kept them out of Okanagan Lake, their ancestral home.
It's extremely rewarding.
For project lead Zoe Ilfson, it's an emotional moment.
It's the last big major milestone to get fish back to their historical waters, to get these salmon back.
Just to get here, migrating salmon have a 1,200-kilometer journey, swimming upstream from the Pacific Ocean through the Columbia River system and past 9 hydroelectric dams before they reach their spawning grounds. Construction of the dams blocked their migration for decades, But 20 years ago, the Silks began to restore habitat and remove barriers. They built a hatchery, releasing millions of salmon fry each year into the river system.
It's a really amazing milestone.
Biologist Ryan Benson has been part of this work for more than a decade.
Just seeing everything come together on a day like today, it's, yeah, makes it all worthwhile.
The return of sockeye salmon also brings an important food source.
My grandfather and I used to survive on salmon all winter long.
For many here, the connection is cultural and spiritual.
When the salmon are going to come back up here, the land is going to sing.
And now, with the gates open, the salmon are set to return, carrying food, culture, and renewal back to the Okanagan. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Penticton, British Columbia.
And BC's winemakers are being asked more questions about the American grapes that fill their bottles. So many wineries imported American grapes to bolster their 2024 harvest. That's all after a cold snap killed vines across the Okanagan. Now, CBC's Jacqueline Gelano shows us what the labels mean for sellers and consumers in a politically charged climate.
We want those vineyards to survive.
Sophie Jacob feels so strongly about supporting Canada, she rerouted her North American road trip to boycott the United States and spend more time in the Okanagan. She doesn't mind if the grapes were imported, so long as the wine is delicious and supports local businesses.
We don't have any problem with that.
Wineries across the region, like Le Vieux Pin in Oliver and La Stella in Osoyoos, have seen an influx in domestic tourists. As more people are stopping in for wine tastings, winemakers are also being asked questions about the American grapes that fill Okanagan bottles.
And this year we've seen a steady amount of tourists and maybe also people from more local destination that are coming to the wineries and taste the wines.
Most vineyards in the Okanagan face significant die-off in 2024 due to an extreme cold snap. After surviving several summers of smoke, scorching heat, and low yields, many BC-based wineries imported and processed American-grown grapes to stay afloat at a time before U.S. President Donald Trump was elected into office.
There's a lot of education that has been put forward, and maybe at the very beginning we had a little bit of hesitation, but as soon as the clients are tasting the wines, they're seduced, and that's it.
She's working to educate the public on what the label "Crafted in BC" means, even when the bottles she produced contain imported grapes from Washington State.
The reason we went through that avenue is to be able to keep operating the business, keep having some wines to sell in a tasting room.
In Kelowna, the manager of a liquor store has noticed that while overall sales at his shop are down, demand for local beverages is up.
The customers are still cautious just because they're trying to make sure they're supporting the right businesses. Buy local as much as they can. Some of the grapes are from the state still, but they have been produced and turned into wine here.
The BC Liquor Distribution Board reports that demand for BC wine is up 5.5% compared to last year, representing an increase of more than 6.8 million in sales. Jacqueline Gelano, CBC News, Kelowna.
Federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will soon know if he's heading back to Parliament Hill. Polls will be closing shortly in a by-election in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot. CBC's Julia Wong was there tonight.
By-election results from this rural Alberta riding will have a national impact.
I chose the party that I felt both suited my value system.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is looking to regain a seat in the House of Commons after losing in his Ottawa riding in April. He made the rounds and his pitch to voters.
Poilievre's voice and his ability to question the sitting government is a good thing.
I don't believe that we should be able to just put him in a riding that's usually very much PC for him to basically be a shoo-in.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
In the riding's 10-year history, Conservative MPs have won with more than 70% of the vote and as high as 83% in the last election. This political expert says she'll be watching closely.
What we're really thinking about is how big his margin of victory is going to be. He can win, but if he doesn't win with a big majority, that will be problematic for him.
Poilievre also has a lot of company on the ballot. 214 candidates are running, most affiliated with the longest ballot committee seeking electoral reform. For the first time, Elections Canada says voters must write in their selection from a 15-page candidate list.
Seniors have never been used to doing something like that.
I knew how to spell the name before I came, shall we say, so it wasn't such a big deal.
Donald Trump met with Volodymyr Zelensky and other European leaders today. He says the United States could be involved in providing security guarantees for Ukraine as part of a peace deal with Russia. As Ashley Burke reports, Trump also said a ceasefire is not needed to bring an end to the war.
A warmer White House welcome. Ukraine's president doing everything he can to ensure these talks with Donald Trump about ending the war don't go off the rails. Volodymyr Zelensky wearing a suit instead of military attire, bringing some of the most powerful European leaders with him and striking a thankful tone after a disastrous meeting at the White House in February where he was publicly berated. These critical talks happening after Russia's latest attack.
We live under each day attacks, that today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia.
I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
Trump said Zelensky has to seize Crimea and agree to never join NATO in return for U.S. security guarantees, but didn't give details.
There'll be a lot of help. When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're there. They're Europe. But we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved.
The leaders of the UK, Germany, Italy, France, Finland, the European Union, and NATO all at the White House, showing a united front and backing up Ukraine.
To be honest, we all would like to see a ceasefire, the latest from the next meeting on. I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire. So let's work on that.
We're going to let the president go over and talk to the president, and we'll see how that works out. And if we can do that, I will say, and again I say it, in the 6 wars that I've settled, I haven't had a ceasefire.
Trump went into his meeting with Russia's president on Friday saying his focus was on getting Putin to agree to a ceasefire, but he left without that agreement, and today repeatedly suggested that it's no longer a priority, and he thinks he can end the war without it. Trump says he'll be calling Putin to share what happened today and wants to set up a trilateral meeting with Putin and Zelensky next. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Washington.
Okay, if you find yourself in need of some early 1900s knickknacks, there's a place to go. After the break, a look at the items for sale from the set of historical drama Downton Abbey. Stay with us. As they approach the end of their lives, some people decide they don't want a funeral or any kind of memorial service. But as William Burr reports, the absence of a gathering can make grieving more difficult for families and their friends. But here's why some still make that choice.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Iris Paradella Hunter often thinks of Neil McBurney while listening to one of his favorite songs. The two met volunteering and became best friends.
When we first met each other, I saw that mischief in his eye, and he probably saw my silliness too. And so we hit it off right away.
Neil passed away in 2021. When he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, Iris took care of him. She asked him what he wanted in terms of a memorial service. And he replied, nothing at all.
This was not just one conversation. There was more than one conversation. And I think he was fed up with me bringing it up over and over again. And he said, Iris, no, I don't want those things.
Neil didn't want to be the center of attention. And he's not alone. Obituaries often contain the phrase, no service by request.
We are very death-denying culture here, and we don't like to talk about it, or we talk as if we're just going to keep living forever. But we also, when it does come down to it, we just seem to, not want anybody to make a fuss about us.
Jennifer Hoskins, who works for a funeral services company, says that 54% of her clients in the Lower Mainland request cremation without any funeral service, a number that increased by 6% between 2014 and 2019, but has not changed since the pandemic. In the case of Neil and Iris ended up speaking to him more directly.
I said, Neil, this is not all about you. This is about us, the people who you've left behind, and we need a space to gather and comfort each other and honor you in our way and show each other how important you were to us.
The emptiness that can follow a loss when grief can't be expressed became clear to this pastor some years ago in one of the congregations she served.
It was very shocking. Suddenly seeing copies of a person's obituary when they're still alive is very shocking. I'll always remember this quote. They said, well, I didn't want to be a drama queen.
A member of that congregation not only didn't want a funeral, but also didn't want anyone to know that they were terminally ill. They gave Kathy Merchant copies of their obituary for her to distribute once they had passed.
And I said, did you feel like you wouldn't get support in the community, or did you feel like you couldn't tell us? And they said, no, it's not like that. I didn't want to make a big deal about it. And I think they maybe didn't know what a big deal they were to the community. That makes me kind of sad. Like they didn't know how much people missed them and really wanted to honor them.
For months after the person's death, parishioners came to Kathy Merchant to express their incomprehension, even anger, about the suddenness of the loss.
I felt rattled about it for months. It was really quite intense, and it didn't have to be that way.
To celebrate Neil and to inspire us.
The disruption that Kathy Merchant's community experienced is what Iris Paradella Hunter wanted to avoid with her friend Neil. After many conversations, he accepted a memorial service. One that spoke to his personality. No religious imagery, lots of photos, wine, and music that he loved. At a smaller service during the incineration of his coffin, they played James Brown.
It was, maybe you recognize this. Wah! I feel good! Ta-da-na-na-na-na-na. If he was here, he would be saying that's me. He would have enjoyed it.
Iris is glad that Neil allowed his community to honor him.
It made me remember him and celebrate him and know that, and feel that he is just near. But most of all, my grief had somewhere to go.
Somewhere for her grief to go, and something that helps her remember Neil as the years go by. William Burr, CBC News, Vancouver.
The wildfire burning just south of Port Alberni is still out of control, but fire officials say the Mount Underwood fire is not burning as aggressively as it was last week. That's all thanks to that rain and cooler weather that we've been having. But crews say they are still keeping an eye out for warmer and drier conditions that are expected later this week. Darius Madavi is back with another look at your weather. Darius, we've been having a bit of a break from the heat. I know you've been out hiking in the rain. What was that like?
That's right. I was on the West Coast Trail when an atmospheric river moved in and dropped quite a bit of rain. I do want to say a quick note about atmospheric rivers. I know for good reason people here in BC are a little bit sensitive to that term, but I will note a decent chunk of the rain that we get here on the West Coast comes from atmospheric river events. They are a normal part of the water cycle here on the coast. 30 to 50% of the water that we get every year, the precipitation we get, comes from these events. This was pretty early in the season. This is usually more of an autumn thing, an October thing than August. But as we just heard, as you said, Baneet, this was some good rain that really helped with the fire situation. Less good for people camping and me on the trail. But that is the price we pay for a little bit of improvement. I'm fine with that. I'm still going through my photos from the trail, but it was incredible and green and lush, and we have the rain to thank for that. So can't complain too much. Now, let's take a look at the fire situation here in BC. You can see some of those fire perimeters here. There's the one that is just south of Port Alberni, quite large now, over 3,000 hectares. In terms of smoke, we're really not doing too bad here across BC. We'll take a look at surface smoke later because this is that upper atmosphere haze as well. But you'll notice really not much except for down in the southeast corner of the province. In terms of fire danger, that has also been suppressed quite significantly by all the rain that we had, up to 100 millimeters on parts of the central coast. And you can see, as a result, low to very low fire danger across BC, with the exception of this area right along the eastern side of the coast mountains in that rain shadow where they didn't really see that same precipitation. With that being said, expect this fire danger to continue to rise through the next week or so. We've got a little bit of a drizzle coming to the coast tomorrow again in places, a few showers possible for the west coast of the island and the North Island. But beyond that, temperatures are expected to start to climb once again. And really the only place where we can expect to see precipitation later this week is maybe a little bit on the north coast and up in the northwest. But that ridge of high pressure building in, really going to deflect that precipitation away from BC, with really those only parts potentially breaking in up in that corner of the province. Here are the temperatures that I mentioned are rising over the next few days. We may see a little bit of a drop as we get into midweek around Wednesday before those temperatures really start to climb and we see a lot of much sunnier and more intense sunny weather. Now, this heat wave won't probably stick around for too long, but it will likely really start to build on Thursday and last into at least early next week is what we can see so far, potentially a little bit beyond that as well. Here's that forecast for tomorrow. As you'll notice, a few thunderstorms are possible in parts of the northeast, like in the Peace and the central interior, and then inland sections of the coast as well. But beyond that, only really little pockets of smoke, not much expected for now. Fire activity still suppressed by those cooler temperatures and slightly wetter weather, although that remains that likely won't last for too much longer. Here's a 5-day forecast. Baneet, expect more sunshine on the way.
It's coming. Thank you, Darius.
Thank you.
And fans of Downton Abbey now have a chance to own items used in the British historical drama. So this exhibition in London is a preview of the online auction. Visitors can see several costumes and props used in the Emmy Award-winning TV show, from wedding and party dresses and other well-known items from the fictional world will go under the hammer. Now, but the most expensive of them will be the Crawley family car, a real 1925 vehicle that actually still works. And after the break, how some men at an addictions recovery center are building community and a motorcycle.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC inbox. CBC is proud to partner with the Dr. Peter Centre for their annual Life Commitment Gala, an evening honoring Dr. Peter Jepson Young. For more information, visit drpeter.org. And the Northern Super League is back at Swangard Stadium as Vancouver Rise takes on Montreal Roses on Saturday, August 30th. Come by the CBC tent and share your soccer stories for a chance to win some great prizes.
Several men at an addictions recovery center in Penticton are building new skills and supporting their community.
For months, they worked on building a motorcycle to raise funds and honor someone who made an impact at the center.
At this addictions recovery center in Penticton, this is the sound of hope.
It's huge to be, here at startup for the first time and, see it run.
For several months, 12 men at Discovery House worked to build a motorcycle, each one of them with their own unique story.
I'm 28 years old. I had been living on the street for about 10 years, and this place really helped me get my life back together.
At Discovery House, giving back is part of the program, so for them, that meant giving back to one of their own. Piece by piece, the motorcycle was built in honor of Discovery House's executive director, Jerome Abraham, who passed away from cancer.
Jerome was an amazing man. He did a lot for this community. He was a pillar of this recovery community here in Penticton.
The bike is now being auctioned off with all proceeds going towards building more recovery beds. It's a need that keeps growing. Interior Health says there are 57 treatment beds across the entire Okanagan Valley, and wait times vary depending on the severity. At Discovery House,
we always sit still with us building this house at about 20 to 35 on our wait list daily. So the need to expand and everything else is so crucial for us to service the gentlemen that we have to.
it's giving back to say thanks and to give others a chance at hope. Tiffany Goodwin, CBC News, Penticton.
Well, that was cool.
That was very cool. Yeah, awesome motorcycle.
Can you build a motorcycle?
Out of Lego, or with enough time and enough YouTube videos, maybe.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, can you ride one?
No, but I'm working on my dirt biking abilities. Not there yet. Maybe one day.
That might be transferable. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem YouTube and our website.
And I'll have your full next local newscast at 11 o'clock, right after the National. Good night. Yeah.